Hey, credit heroes. Credit repair is blowing up on social media right now, and I love that it's getting attention, but let's be real. Not all of these videos are helpful, and some could actually do more harm than good. That's why today I'm diving into some hugely viral credit videos online. I'm gonna break them down, and I'm gonna give you the real story so you don't waste your time or fall for something that could wreck your credit or your business. So you better stick around.
My name is Daniel Rosen, and welcome to Credit Repair Business Secrets.
Most people have no idea how important credit really is because they don't teach this stuff in schools, even though they should. So viral videos can help if the information is correct. But just remember, not everything you see online is right. So let's hit play on these viral clips and we'll get into it.
You don't have to wait 7 years for collections to be removed from your credit report.
What you talking about?
You don't. The reason why is because these debt collectors and collection agencies don't actually have the right to your debt.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I'm listening too.
If you have an account that was charged off with an original creditor and they sold that account to a collection agency, that collection agency purchased your debt for pennies on the dollar.
She's right. Collection companies buy debt for pennies on the dollar, and then they try to make that money back by hassling you. How's that even fair? But let's see what she has to say.
So let's just say that your original debt was $1,000. That collection agency purchased it for under $100. And if they get you to pay for it, that's a huge profit margin for their company. That's how that company makes money. They make money off of buying your debt for 10% or less and then scaring you into believing that you owe them something, but you don't because you've never signed a contract with the collection agency.
But what if I owe the original credit?
The original creditor has already written off your debt. They sold that debt, so now it doesn't belong to them anymore, and that should be zeroed out on your credit report. And the collection agency now has that debt, but it's theirs.
In fact, I'll go one further. If you happen to look at your credit report and you see both the original debt with the original creditor and you see the debt with the collection agency, that's what's called double reporting, and you can dispute this with the credit bureaus. Only the collection agency that bought the debt has the right to show any outstanding balance.
It doesn't belong to you because you didn't sign a contract with them. You can get it removed under the Fair Credit Reporting Act. It can be deleted, gone forever, not to ever be on your credit report again. It's simple and easy, and if you need help doing this, there's a link in my bio for a done-for-you service where I do it for you, and I'd be happy to help you.
I really like Alicia, not just because she uses our credit monitoring, but because she gives a lot of great advice on her TikTok channel, and she presents it in a fun and relatable way. And collections is one of those issues that continues to hurt and frustrate people who are dealing with credit issues. Take a look at my podcast where I go into details about how to dispute and remove collections. And I'm going to leave a link down in the description below.
Here's how I would pay this card off in 6 months. The limit is $2,800. The balance is $2,637.
Uh-oh, here comes some math.
If we take the balance divided by the limit, that's going to give us the current utilization on the card, which is pretty high right now at 94%. To figure out the percentage that the balance needs to go down, we're going to divide the 94% by 6 months. We're going to round up and say the balance needs to go down 16% every month, which you can see is what we have here. These numbers on the right side are what the balances need to be at in order to report at each one of these utilization percentages.
Actually, I like videos that break it down like this because you get to really see how the numbers work.
Then to figure out what 16% of the limit is, we take the limit times 0.16, meaning that the balance needs to go down $448, but then we also have to add interest if we actually want the balance to go down this much. So the interest rate is 14.9% on this card. We take the current balance times that interest rate, which gives us the estimated annual interest, and then we divide that by 12 to get the estimated monthly interest, which is about $33. Then we add the $33 to the $448 payment we were going to make. So for the first month, we would pay $481 to get this card down to $78. 48%. Remember, the interest will get less as the balance goes down.
And as the balance goes down below 30% of utilization, your credit score is probably going to go up. Look, a lot of this is easier said than done. Paying almost $500 a month to get your credit card balance down is not an easy task. If you could afford that, you probably wouldn't have ended up with so much debt in the first place. But sometimes these are the sacrifices you need to make to fix that credit score. When I was in show business, I racked up a ton of credit card debt. Because I had such long gaps between gigs, I was always living on credit cards, and my income went up and down a lot, and I had a huge spending problem. But I worked really, really hard to pay off that debt. And you know what? I did it. And you can too. But it's not just about paying off the debt. No, you gotta change your spending habits and your financial mindset. Okay, this next video is a bit long, and it contains an interview with a subject matter expert about the concept of credit invisibility and how you can become visible. So I'm going to jump into it and then I will summarize it.
Credit invisible. Roughly 28 million American consumers have no credit history. Another 21 million people have unscorable credit files due to a lack of recent credit history. It's important to note that anyone can be credit invisible, especially those who have moved here from another country. I would know. I'm from Canada and I didn't know that credit invisibility was a thing until I moved to New York City, applied for an apartment, and was told I have no credit history. I was very confused because I'd spent a lot of money shopping on my Canadian credit card. And of course, also making sure I was paying it all off on time every month.
So many people who help others with credit issues actually got their start in dealing with their own personal credit issues. Me, for example, I built Credit Repair Cloud after a bank error ruined my credit and ruined my life. And so many of the most successful credit heroes started with their own credit too.
As I continue to understand how credit can be a financial tool, I thought it would be best to chat with an expert to figure out what exactly it means to be credit invisible and how you can become visible. Hello, Brian. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, there's a couple ways that you can become credit visible. As a young adult, becoming an authorized user is one. Having a parent or guardian that adds you onto their credit card can make you credit visible. Taking out a store card or getting a secured card. Let's say you're a young adult, you have $200. You can take that $200 and put that on a secured card that you can use. That is now your credit limit that gets processed to all the credit bureaus. So you can utilize that and then paying it off at the end of the month. That way, like, you're establishing that you know how to use credit wisely.
Okay, this gentleman is from Experian, which always raises the question of whose side is he really on? But in this case, he's pretty harmless. And the idea of starting with a secured card is a good idea. It helps you to control your usage better because the credit limit is based on how much you deposit, which means you're less likely to overspend and more likely to build credit responsibly. It's like training wheels for your credit, and it's one of the safest ways to start boosting your score without taking on unnecessary risk.
If you aren't credit visible, you can have a hard time with basic services like renting an apartment or even renting a car. Being credit visible helps people gain access to financial tools that can help them be more financially healthy. It can boost your quality of living and lessen the amount of stress you have when it comes to being approved for applying for a mortgage for your dream home or dream car. Hi, I have a 9 o'clock appointment.
Oh yes, come on in.
Having good credit is essentially a form of financial self-care, becoming the backbone of a seamless day-to-day living scenario.
This is especially true for young adults who haven't yet had the time to establish any type of credit. But if you're young and unfamiliar with the world of credit and credit card companies, you're probably going to get a rude awakening because many of them prey on young adults with bonuses and incentives that dismiss the responsibility of keeping track of your spending. So be mindful of your credit usage when you're brand new to credit. It's also important to note that there are inequalities within the credit system that make it harder for certain minority groups to become credit visible. A study from the CFPB found that 45 million adults in the U.S. were considered either credit invisible or credit unscorable, with a disproportionate number of Hispanic consumers among that group. This cycle of exclusion and exploitation needs to come to an end.
If your mom has bad credit, show her this. Step 1, pull your credit report. You either go to inyourcreditreport.com, Experian.com, TransUnion.com, or Equifax.com. Do not use Credit Karma.
I see a lot of people recommending against using Credit Karma, mainly because the scores you can get from them can differ from the scores that lenders usually use. But the really important thing here is to look at the actual info on your report. That's where you'll find the errors, and that's the basis of disputing.
Step 2, once you have your credit reports, you want to identify all the negative accounts. So if you have late payments, you can use this law. If you have charge-offs, you can use these two laws. If you have collections, you can use this law. And if you have increase, you can use this law. And if you need help drafting your notice of dispute, use ChatGPT, and make sure when sending your letters, it's sent off certified mail, green return receipt.
I would agree that it's often a good idea to cite the various laws into your dispute letters, because it adds a level of urgency so the bureaus know that you're serious. Also, the use of AI to help craft dispute letters is something that's become popular for expediting the process. So I give it a thumbs up. And if you're using Credit Repair Cloud software, you can use our built-in Letters by AI feature to generate a unique letter every time. It's super easy and very effective. Now, you don't really need to spend money on certified mail. Some people swear you can get better results, but it can just be a waste of money. So if you're just starting out, focus on great dispute letters and persistence.
We listen, but we don't judge. I definitely called the bureaus and claimed identity theft to fix my whole credit. Like my whole credit. And every time I call, I totally take advantage of my information was exposed in a data breach. And you got to remove this information. Don't turn my dispute into a 30-day dispute under Section 605B. This shit should be removed within 4 days. And everything has gotten deleted. And I ain't paid nobody back.
Okay, this one's a little dangerous. Calling the credit bureaus and claiming identity theft or a data breach, if it's not true, is fraud. And I'm not just talking about a slap on the wrist. No, filing a false police report is illegal, it's unethical, and people go to jail for it. Now, maybe this person did experience a legitimate data breach, but here's the thing. Not every data breach means that you have been a victim of identity theft. It's a serious claim, and if you make it, the credit bureaus are going to ask for proof. That means documentation including letters from creditors, breach notifications, or an official identity theft report, as well as a police report. Look, I get it. You want to fight back. You want to clean up your credit, but don't try to game the system because it can backfire in a very big way. If you truly suspect identity theft, make sure you have your facts and your paperwork ready to go.
Credit repair hack number 37.
Number 37? Does that mean that there are 36 ones that came before this? That is a lot of hacking.
As you may know, when you dispute a negative item on your credit with the 3 credit bureaus, like a late payment, a collection, or a charge-off, your main objective is to highlight inaccurate, incomplete, or unverifiable information on the credit report so that they must delete it. However, what some of you may not know is that when Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion receive the dispute that you just sent, they turn around to the smaller companies like LexisNexis, Innovis, CoreLogic, and ARS, also known as secondary credit bureaus. When the big 3 reach out to the smaller 4, they're trying to verify information that you recently disputed in order to keep it on your credit report.
That's very true.
The problem is that 98% of the time, the information is going to match up, which is why when you disputed in the past, it comes back as verified.
That's true as well.
Here's what you can do about it. The way to combat this verification process is to put a security freeze on each of the 4 bureaus so that they cannot access that credit report and cannot verify the information. Once you place these security freezes on, wait 2 weeks, then dispute again with the 3 credit bureaus and watch what happens to your credit repair results.
This is a great point. We don't talk enough about the secondary bureaus and how the big 3 use them to verify their information. This is also great advice because it highlights something that most people miss. Credit repair is not one size fits all. There are different tactics, different strategies, and knowing your options gives you power. Here's my final point. Social media videos are great for learning about things in small bite-sized nuggets. After all, I use them myself. But sometimes, when it comes to credit repair tips and hacks, there's more to know below the surface. Don't just rely on these short videos just because they have a lot of views and clicks. Do your research and know the facts before you act, because the more you know, the more lives you can change. And I'll end by saying, if you're ready to take what you've learned and actually build a business from it, check out Credit Repair Business 101. And if you'd like to improve your credit score and discover how to earn extra income repairing credit for others, check out my brand new Start Repairing Credit Challenge. So sign up right now at startrepairingcredit.com and keep changing lives.